Hey guys, it's Liv here, and in today's video, we're going to be using a team built around Iron Moth with FLUTTER main support. If you enjoy this and you want to see more, like and subscribe. And common question of the day, what is your favorite future Paradox Pokemon to use? I'm going to do a showcase of a past Paradox Pokemon team tomorrow, but today's common question is going to be, what's your favorite future Paradox Pokemon? Specifically speaking of the future ones, my favorite's probably still Iron Hands, though Iron Moth has been taking a very high, it's been definitely getting a run at that spot, to say the least. I've been running a lot of Tailwind within the back that I'm testing for future content, and I definitely think I've become a fan of it, though it's still slightly Iron Hands. With that said though, let's get into the team. Speaking of Iron Hands, it is actually our first Pokemon of the team today, with an Assault Vest set with Wild Charge, Fake Out, Volt Switch, and Drain Punch. This has the Terra Fire to help avoid burns, and with the Assault Vest, we actually have a lot going for us in this set. For one, this team is able to utilize this Iron Hand set in order to take a modest choice specs FLUTTER main Moonblast, even before Terrastal, which is honestly insane. I covered this in my Iron Hand short yesterday, going over a bunch of different sets. This is one of the sets I pointed to, and I think it's a really deadly set. With the 140 attack as well, for any speed boosting Roaring Moons, which it consists of 36 speed, 36 HP as the minimum benchmark, this would OHKO any 36 HP set, so then for anything bulkier than that, we could start to try and figure out how bulky the Roaring Moon really is. But I figured for the minimum speed boosting benchmark, in case if people wanted to try and keep as much attack into the spread as possible, the 148 attack would guarantee the KO there. This would of course be with Drain Punch, as Wild Charge would be resist. However, Wild Charge after a Terra Flying would obviously also KO that. Moving on to our next Pokemon, we have the Iron Moth with a Terra Fire with the 132 special attack, of course, just being it down in our special attack so we can get speed boost with booster energy. The 124 HP is just a middle ground for bulk, since this Pokemon isn't exactly EV to really take any hits, with Acid Spray being a great way to help with Dondozo matchups, as we're able to drop the special attack by 2 stages, and in tandem with our FLUTTER main, we're able to break past it pretty easily. We also have Heat Wave as a strong spread option with Terra Fire, and then Energy Ball is a great option for waters. We have FLUTTER main up next with the Life Orb. This is 29 IVs in HP, so that then we only take 12 HP instead of 13 HP every time we use an attack. We have Shadow Ball and Gleam as our primary offenses, with Substitute being a great option to lead in tandem with Iron Hands. We can go for Fake Out on most Pokemon, try and force Protects, and then go for a Substitute instead, which is a really strong way to help with FLUTTER main doing some good damage before Iron Moth ends up cleaning up games for it. Overall, really good offensive monster here. We have AMOONGUSS with the Terrastal Water, and this has the Rocky Helmet. Now, this is the same spread that I've been using. All of my teams, actually, that I've built for Series 2 so far have this exact AMOONGUSS spread. So you're going to get pretty tired of me explaining it pretty quickly in recent content. The 252 HP plus the 100 SPDF is for Iron Bundle, Focus Sash, Freeze Dry, whether it's Terra Ice or otherwise. Essentially, as long as it's not Terra Ice plus choice specs or like a modest spec set, we can guarantee take the Freeze Dry. So even choice specs, no Terra, Focus Sash, Terra, we can take the Freeze Dry, guaranteed. Whether we Terra or otherwise, we can guarantee take the hit. The 156 Fizz Def is just left over to help with other physical defensive calcs. Rage Powder is of course great for redirection, Spore is great for putting stuff to sleep. We have Protect just because Protect, and Pollen Buff is great for healing up allies, especially Iron Hands in this team, though we do have a couple other options. Next we do have Gyarados. Now this might seem like a bit of a weird option, but just hear me out here. With this Gyarados, we have 236 HP, which is the most optimal amount for any sort of SITRUS calcs, of course, as we do get an even amount of HP with this. Now you could, in theory, go with some sort of, well, no, because we needed the 236, the 188 speed. This is actually designed to create modest Goldengo, and the 76 attack is actually to guarantee a 2-hit KO versus 4 HP Great Tusk, which is essentially to guarantee the 2-hit KO with Waterfall, as typically Great Tusk are going to go for some sort of Terra to get out of the weakness, such as Terra Ground. Though I guess if they went for Terra Fighting or maybe like a Terra Grass, Terra Blast with Flying could also do that. Overall though, this is a really good offensive monster, and the 236 HP, of course, it's 200 HP flat, so instead of going for 244 HP, with the 4 in each defense here and 236 HP, it's a guaranteed Citrus Pop. So I think that's really good. The team was insanely ground weak, and I didn't really have a great way to switch into Tusk, so I figured instead of going for Arcanine for Intimidate support, I would go Gyarados here. And personally, I think it's actually a really good fit in this team. You could in theory go with Salamence, and I think that Salamence has some merit, but I like Gyarados a little bit better because it helps with Great Tusk matchups slightly more, though a special Salamence would do the job as well. Final one of the team, of course, is Great Tusk. I wanted one of my own here. And with the 220 HP plus the 4 Fizz Def, we're actually able to take a guaranteed Acrobatics Roaring Moon with Terra Flying. This is specifically even from Booster Attack before we go for Terrastal, as long as we're at full HP. Really incredible the fact that we can even manage this, to be honest, because Great Tusk, of course, is weak to that. On top of this as well, with the 36 attack, we just dump the rest into there. And I went with the 236 speed because this is also designed to creep Modest Goldengo, as it's a really good speed creep. So I figured the 4 speed up is just there. I didn't really feel the need to dump into Phys Def any further. It didn't really help with Calyx, nor did it help to matter in terms of creeping for speed. The best I could have managed, I guess, is tying Timid Armourouge, which no one runs. So yeah, that's really it. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and with that said, let's get right into the battle. Until then, peace out, guys. Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're going to be using a team built around Iron Moth with a bunch of different Paradox options. This core consists of essentially Iron Moth Flutter main with a bunch of different Pokemon to try and pressure their checks. And if you enjoy teams like this and you want to see more, like and subscribe. With that said, let's try for 2 wins, and if we get 2 wins, you have to like the video. With that, and let's get into it. So we're taking on Flutter main, Arcanine, Iron Bundle, Iron Hands, Brute, Bonnet, and Dragonite. So this is actually pretty interesting. It seems like they've swapped out the Roaring Moon on this sort of comp for Brute Bonnet, and then they threw on Dragonite as a Dragon Filler over just the random slot that typically this core of 5 would have. So it's a pretty interesting comp nonetheless. But however, I do feel confident in leading off with Iron Moth plus Iron Hands here. The Iron Hands can definitely fake out the bundle, or at least force it into a protect spot maybe, and then I can proceed to Volt Switch into Fluttermane on a following turn. We'll bring Lastmon. Lastmon could be Great Tusk, though it could also be Gyarados. I think I'm going to bring Great Tusk, as I think it'll put a little bit more offensive pressure on my opponent, as it's really good for stuff like Iron Hands, Pre-Terra, as well as potentially the Arcanine, which the Arcanine will be a little bit annoying to break, though I also could have definitely brought Gyarados for that spot, and I think it would have equally as much helped with Arcanine. It's specifically the combination of that plus Iron Hands that I'm worried about. So yeah, good luck and fun to my opponent, and let's try and get a win. So, looking at the first Pokemon on the field, we're taking on Fluttermane Iron Bundle. Now, this is a fairly common lead in this format I've found. As far as my response to this goes, I'm going to go for Fake Out into Bundle, and then proceed to go for a Terra Fire Heat Wave. Actually, no, I'm gonna not go for Terra Fire yet, because if my opponent's trying to go for Gleam for more spread damage, not going for the Terrestrial will help take this hit a bit better. Not that I really feel like I genuinely need to take the hit better, but still it'll obviously be helpful. They're going to proceed to withdraw here, and they're going to go right into... What are they going to go into? They're going to go into Arcanine. So this is actually fine. I don't mind Arcanine coming in, because Arcanine coming in realistically just means that my opponent's going to... Yep, okay, so they're going to try, and I'm curious what they're actually going to try and do here. This is still not too bad, actually. What I'm going to end up going for... I'm going to go for the Protect this turn, and then I'm going to go for a Volt Switch into the Iron Bundle here. This should allow me to obviously get some good momentum out, and on top of that as well, I can break the Focus Sash. So we're going to go for that, and this Volt Switch here should do a good amount of damage. I could also go for like a Wild Charge or a Drain Punch. However, I feel like getting this out and then going into something else like a Great Tusk here will be ultimately a little bit more valuable. So I'm going to go with that instead, I think. I think I'll get a better endgame out of this. Now, this does mean that most likely the Bonnet is probably going to end up being the Terra option, which I'm fine with that, in all honesty. It's not going to be a huge deal. They're going to go for Terrestrial Arcanine, and it's Terra Fire. Now, I'm not sure why you burn a Terra on Arcanine here. I feel like Arcanine was fine enough without Terra, and it doesn't really need the damage boost against my team. But good on my opponent, I guess. Again, don't really think it matters. And truthfully, even if they're just going for this, just because they can go for a Terra, and they're going to go for like a Will-O-Wisp on my Iron Hands, I'm pretty okay with this. We have seen Protect and Hydro Pump. Arcanine is going for Flare Blitz. So this actually is a huge turn now, because essentially all I need to do is I could just go for Energy Ball into the Iron Bundle just to solely get off damage, and then I can go to Great Tusk and get off a strong Headlong Rush here. And especially because we are now a Terrestrial Ground set, I should actually be pretty fine with this. So that's actually what I'm going to proceed to do. I'm going to go for the Energy Ball here, and I'm going to go for the Headlong Rush here, because Headlong Rush can't actually miss, and this should ultimately be for the best. And I think this guaranteeing just 2 KOs right here will be safer than trying to go for Heat Wave and get a little bit more damage on Arcanine, because we just don't need it, in all honesty. Arcanine should get off an insane, well, it should take an insane amount of damage from this, because Great Tusk is one of the best attackers in the tier, and even with only 36 offense, this is still an absolute offensive monster. So we're going to be able to KO both these Pokemon, and that's honestly a really big turn for us. Iron Bundle was one of the best ways around Iron Moth, so this core is honestly able to just clean up the rest of their team pretty easily. The worst case scenario, I guess, would be a Dragonite game, but I still have Flutter Mane in the back for that, so I'm not really too concerned with this. Yeah, and we know that they have their own Flutter Mane as well, which I'm fine with because we're speed boosting, so they would have to be Scarfed to outpace us. They're going to be Iron Hands and Flutter Mane. This is still fine, actually. They've already burned their Terra here, so what I'm going to proceed to do, I'm going to go for the Heat Wave this turn. Actually, no, I'm going to just go for Dual Protect. No reason to let one of my Pokemon carelessly go down here. So we're going to make sure to do that. This should help, of course, with preserving both options here, which will hopefully just guarantee that we're going to take out my opponent. Now, I'm curious what they're going to actually go for these attacks. My guess is it's Fake Out plus Gleam. Yep, they're going to go for Fake Out and Iron Hands. And then they're going to go for, what's the other attack? It's probably either Shadow Ball. No, it's going to be Moonblast, actually. So they really value taking out their Great Tusk. Because otherwise, if they just wanted to damage them both and thought that they could just take it out, they might have went for like a Terra Fairy hit. We're going to go for Heat Wave though, and then I'm going to go for the Terrestrial Ground Headlong Rush. This will help with obviously taking the Moonblast a bit better, so I can guarantee get this hit off. And on top of that as well, the Heat Wave should be a good spread option on both Pokemon. It's probably my best way to damage the Flutter Mane. Well, Acid Spray might do about as much just because it's a super effective hit. On top of the fact as well that it's only single target. So it might do about as much to Flutter Mane, but it's some good damage on Iron Hands as well. So we're going to see, yep, it does some okay damage. It's probably some sort of AV Iron Hands if I had to guess, because I feel like that non-AV should have taken a little bit more than that, but it might just be bias. And okay, that just takes us out. I'm curious if this was like a choice spec set actually, because I know that my set is fairly bulky, though I'll acknowledge as well that this doesn't exactly have the best spit off. Okay, so I guess we're gonna lose both Pokemon here, which I'm still fine with. We still have both of our options in the back. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of curious. 2 to 8, and then 4 versus Flutter Mane. So yeah, so Flutter Mane shouldn't have been able to KO there, and then unless it was Specs, which Specs can actually roll us. So this is locked into Moonblast for what it's worth, which I'm still fine with that, in all honesty. On top of this as well, we know that our Flutter Mane, of course, being Life Orb, we should Speed Tie it at worst, since it can't be a Scarf set. So what I'm going to proceed to do, I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball here. Meanwhile, I'm going to go for the Fake Out into, I think I'm going to go for, actually I'm going to go for the Drain Punch here. No real reason to go for Fake Out in my opinion. I'd just rather get off the damage. Actually, I guess I could have went for Fake Out, but I don't think it really matters in all honesty. Yeah, I don't really think it matters. Well, we're going to try and just KO both these Pokemon in all honesty. Realistically, I guess I should have probably went for Fake Out. They're actually going to proceed to go for Moonblast into Iron Hands, which works out perfectly fine. We're going to get the Shadow Ball off, and it should KO. Now, their Iron Hands has to pick between targeting mine or for just going for the Flutter Mane here, which, if they're going to go for Flutter Mane here, that's fine. They might not KO depending on what they go for, whether it's, so they're going to go for Thunder Punch. I don't think this KOs. No, it does. Okay. Still, honestly, okay. I could proceed to go for the Drain Punch here. And this Drain Punch should do some good damage, albeit, I don't know how much. That's not great. Essentially, we're just in a Drain Punch war now, where I think that they'll win, but it might also just come down to crit, to be honest. We're just going to keep going for Drain Punch, though, and we're just going to see what we can gain back. They're actually just going to go for Tantrum. Right, they have Tantrum. Okay, that's just going to win. Okay, so game one's unfortunate. Realistically, I think that I should have probably went for the Fake Out there, and I think if I did, I won. Definitely was a bit careless, to say the least, because I guarantee had that, and I just sort of slipped it up because I was thinking that I didn't need to go for it. Regardless, though, we're going to polish it up. We're going to play a bit better going to game number 2. So I'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys. Okay, so moving on to game number 2, we're actually taking on a Spathra Shocks. Now, I've seen this core actually running around. Recently, it's for Gravity Hypnosis, or for Gravity, like, Thunder. So, definitely interesting core. We're taking on Pelipper, Iron Bundle, Espathra, Sandy, Shocks, Great Tusk, Flutter, Mane. Okay. So, in terms of my lead here, I feel like I definitely want to lead off again with the Iron Hands Moth. I feel like it should ultimately be a really strong lead, and we can force into, like, a Protect from the Iron Bundle here. I don't know. This might not be a great matchup, in all honesty. Looking at their Shocks, the Shocks does a lot of damage to my team. I'm trying to think of ways around that, because if I look at my team, so I have Terra Fire on both my hands and Moth. Fairy, Water, Flying, Ground. Ugh, that's not really great matchups. I mean, my Tusk is probably my best check. Okay, so we're gonna lead off with this core. I'm gonna bring Flutter Mane in the back. Actually, I think I'm just gonna go for, yeah, I am gonna go for this lead. And then I think I kind of do need to bring Tusk again. because Tusk overall should be a decent option. Actually, no, I'm going to bring Gyarados. I'm going to bring Gyarados, and I'm just going to hope for field positioning where I don't think I can set up Gyarados. I kind of have to go with AMOONGUSS here, and then try and redirect something. And that's really how I'm going to bank off of this, because that's the thing. I need Tusk offensively speaking. I feel like Tusk smashes their team in terms of offensive presence. The one exception to that would be Pelipper, but I don't really get a good turn to do that against their team. And I guess this is why a lot of teams are running Talonflame Tusk, which I'll showcase later in the week. But right now, though, just unfortunate, because I think that they're going to lead off better than I will. They're going to have Spathra and Sandy Shocks. Okay. So this is actually fine. I do anticipate that the Spathra is going to most likely go for some sort of Protect this turn. Now, they might go for Protect on both Pokemon, which I'm perfectly fine with. Let's see. So it should be Photosynthesis special attack. No, they're going to be Speed. Okay, good to note. So that means they're Timid Sandy Shocks. Okay. So, in terms of the move set, I'm going to anticipate that at the very least, the fucking Espathra goes for a Protect this turn. I'm going to proceed to go for the Fake Out into Sandy Shocks, and then I'm going to go for the Heat Wave here. The Heat Wave should do some good damage. I'm not going to go for the Terra just yet until we've seen otherwise. They're going to go for Terrestrial here, and it's going to be on the Sandy Shocks, and they're going to proceed to go for the Terra Ghost. Ooh, Terra Ghost is terrifying. Because that gets around the Fake Out on top of it as well. Now I might actually be kind of screwed, because they're going to get off a really strong ground move into one of our Pokemon. So that's not great, to say the least. Ewa's going to still do some good damage, but it's not going to, yeah, it's not going to KO. They're going to go for Gravity on Sandy Shocks, actually. Okay, so this is still fine. So this means they're going to go for Hypnosis. Yep, okay. So Hypnosis goes off. Alright. Well, that's pretty bad. I can't lie. Oh, that's really bad. Oh my god. Well, we're going to proceed to go for a Wild Charge and just hope we can take whatever hit this wants to go for. Meanwhile, I think I'm just going to let this go down because it's kind of useless without the speed boost, especially against their comp. So we're going to just go for the Heat Wave here. And just hope they either ignore or don't wake up. Well, so we didn't wake up. Okay, that's fine. They're going to Hypnosis into the Iron Hands. Oh my god, this is fucking insane. Fuck. I don't even really know what I'm supposed to do around this. I mean, I know what I should have done around this. But even still, look, there's no guarantee that they went for like a Terra Ghost either. So I couldn't even safely go for like a Wild Charge, for example, or like a Volt Switch. So I guess my other play would have been targeting the... Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest. I don't really know what else I do here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into Flutter Mane here, and I'm going to go for Protect. This is fucking terrifying, I can't lie. We're going to go for Wild Charge into the Espathra, and I'm going to go for Protect on my Flutter Mane, just to stall a turn where they can't put something to sleep, because I can at least get a 50-50 out there and maybe get some more damage off. And that's kind of what I need to bank on at this point. They're going to go for Hypnosis, that's fine. It works out well for me. Because next turn I can go for Rage Powder, and that should be huge. But I essentially need to sack, like, half of my team. I don't even KO. God damn it. Okay. So, at this point, I need to go for... Fuck. Yeah, no, this is really bad. Okay, well, I'm going to go for a Wild Charge here. And I'm going to proceed to go for a... Protect. I'm going to try and get the double Protect off. Because I think it's kind of my out. Thank God we got the double Protect off, and I need to also wake up in tandem with this. Not only this, but I need to live the Earth Power from Sandy Shocks. Or if I don't live the Earth Power, I guess I could still bank off of the Rage Powder. This essentially also implies that the Espathra isn't Safety Goggles. Because if that's Safety Goggles, then I also just can't win this game, essentially. Because they would put Flutter Mane to sleep, and I can't do enough damage offensively. For what it's worth, I can, if the Iron Bundle and Flutter Mane both bench, I could in theory maybe make this work, or if I just want to speed tie on their Flutter Mane, I could in theory make this work, but it's not going to be pretty. It's never going to be pretty. We're going to try and get our damage off. Oh man, again, I just need to hope. I really just need to hope here that this fucking works. Their Sandy Shocks also outpaces me, so I need to redirect both these hits, which I know I can redirect Sandy Shocks. The issue is, am I going to redirect to SITRUS Hypnosis? Which if I don't redirect that, I'm kind of fucked. Because I can't actually get off a sufficient amount of damage here. Thankfully, they don't have a fairy switch in, so they can't really actually just switch something else in to take this hit. They're just going to be kind of screwed. So we're going to get our Tera Fairy off here, and we're just going to hope for the best. We're gonna see if we can actually get the damage off here. But oh my god, that was fucking terrifying. That really was terrifying. I've never played this core before. I've heard a lot about it. I've never played the core. Never even seen the core in action, so I didn't realize that they ran Tera Ghost. But oh my god, I mean, I get why on this comp for what it's worth. So thankfully it's not safety goggles. So we got the Hypnosis to land, which is good. That's really good for us. So thankfully as well, we're gonna get this Thunder to be pretty resisted as well, which works out really well for us. This Gleam should do a fairly strong amount of damage here. I'm gonna hope we can take out both. We do take out both. Beautiful. Okay. So Sandy Shock's Spather is gone. Now, in terms of the next option, we are in a bit of a pickle here. Because if Pelipper Bundle comes in next, I might be screwed. Because I don't know if I actually take that on sufficiently. Which essentially it's gonna come down to when I wake up with AMOONGUSS. So we need to make sure that we can get off a Rage Powder. The Rage Powder needs to go off, and we need to redirect the Hydro Pump into AMOONGUSS, because that's how I actually take that hit. So Pelipper comes in, and sadly that does mean it's probably Iron Bundle. So I need to get off a Protect here, which should be fine. I can pretty much easily manage that. I'm gonna go for Protect plus a Spore into Iron Bundle. Because if I get the Spore off, that's also pretty huge, because I can essentially just go for a Pollen Puff plus a Dazzling Gleam next turn. That would be the best case scenario, if I can somehow land that hit. Now, realistically, what's going to happen here, Pelipper's going to go for Hurricane, they're going to go for Blizzard anyway, which, even worse for me, to be completely honest. Yeah, that just so goes. So I lost any chance at winning this, unless if for some reason they're not Sash and they're Modest, and I also just KO both Pokemon. Pelipper probably also has a Wide Guard anyway for this scenario, and they're Tailwind anyway, so again, even more Salt in the Wound. But I couldn't really gamble this turn. They had the luxury to do that. I didn't, because I needed to bank on single target moves only and redirect, which again, with their team comp, this makes total sense why they would have Blizzard as their option, because they're just trying to go for redirection. Well, not for redirection, for better accuracy. We're gonna have to try and KO both these Pokemon, which I don't think we even take the Pelipper Hurricane. Yep, okay, so we don't. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Good game to my opponent. I know we went 0-2 so far, but this team is definitely better than that. For what it's worth, I objectively made a really bad play turn 1 when I could have gotten a win. So I'm going to try and see if we can at least go 1-2. I think the team is still 2-1 quality, but we're going to try for 1-2. We'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out, guys. Okay, so moving on to our final team, we're taking on Drifblim, Armor Rouge, Iron Bundle, Meowscarada, Indeedee, and a Bomb of Snow. So it's a Hail team that consists of also Flash Fire, Armor Rouge, which is pretty cool. They have options, of course, for different waters, which, well, not for waters, it's probably for, like, Dondozo matchups. The point being is that Meowscarada is here. Might also be for Psychics that might try and take advantage of high spam, but interesting comp, to say the least. We're going to lead off with Fluttermane Iron Moth here. I think it's my best lead for sure. We're going to essentially try and bank off of... I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is I'm probably just going to go for Gleam turn 1 and go for Protect a Moth into a Heat Wave. But we'll have to see. It depends on if they're booster or not. I'm going to bring Iron Hands in the back as well. Iron Hands should be decent as a late game option. And then I'm going to bring Tusk. Their team doesn't really have anything to warrant Gyarados, sadly, which is unfortunate. I wouldn't be terrible here, but sadly with all the bundles flying around, Gyarados is already a fairly niche pick. I only bring it for matchups that consist of like Arcanine Hands duos where it's a really obvious Terra. And I think it better suits best of 3 a lot better, especially with Open Sheet, which is mostly just to figure out what the Iron Hands Terra type is so I can try and bait it. On Ladder, sadly, it's not really practical, which is unfortunate. You could probably switch it out for something else if you'd like on Ladder, but I think it's a lot better suited for best of 3 Open Sheet. So it is what it is. They're going to lead off with Iron Bundle plus the Bomb of Snow. They're also going to be Booster Energy Speed, which is fine. So this means that they do guarantee outpace my Iron Moth, which is a little bit unfortunate to say the least, but it's still fine. We're going to go for the Terra. I'm going to go for a substitute here, actually. Actually, no. I'm going to go for just a Shadow Ball, and I'm going to go for a Protect. I'm going to try and take this hit as well as possible. Which, for what it's worth, I'm anticipating either an Icy Wind this turn or a flat-out Hydro Pump into Moth. I don't think there's really any other play that my opponent makes. They are going to proceed to go for the Terrestrial here, which is perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure it's a Bomb Snow. Yep, that's fine. It's gonna be probably Terra Water. It's Terra Ice, actually. Which, I'm very surprised by Terra Ice, to say the least. I get that it's to weaken their fire weakness a little bit, but even still. This just feels like a play out of left field. We're gonna, regardless, go for the... So they're gonna go for Aurora Veil and Iron Bundle, actually. That's pretty interesting. It's obviously, I'm gonna get why they're doing it. It's for a better support piece here. Oh, we just crit through it. Okay, well, that's pretty fucking terrible for my opponent, actually. Because they just lost their best way around Iron Moth. They might just forfeit to that, I'm going to be completely honest. And that's not me trying to say, oh, my opponent should forfeit. No, they probably just are going to forfeit to that. Because that's such a bad turn for them. Holy shit, we got really bailed. I mean, for what it's worth, I still had ways I could have gotten around that. For example, I don't really think the speed boost was necessary on Iron Moth at this point. I could have actually probably switched it into Iron Hands. But we'll have to see. Let's see. I'm going to proceed to go for the Dazzling Gleam here. And I'm going to go for a Terra Fire Heat Wave. Both of these should do some good damage. And with Terra Fire, I can lessen my weakness to Earth Power, which will be great. Now, they could also obviously go into Armourouge and try and take advantage of this turn. However, at the same time, though, they're still going to take a Gleam, which is good. And I could Shadow Ball it for free next turn, unless they go for Trick Room on Indeedee this turn. Which means no redirection, which is still fine for me, in all honesty. Regardless of this 2 set of hits should be some good damage, even through an Aurora Veil. I anticipate that we'll probably KO a Bomb Snow with the Heat Wave plus Gleam combination, just because of how especially offensive we are and the fact this is super effective. We do manage to get a burn here. Again, fairly lucky. I'm so sorry to my opponent. I still think we could have made this work in a clean game, but it's definitely going a lot easier, to say the least. We don't even actually KO the Bomb Snow, which is kind of incredible. They're going to go for Psychic here on Indeedee, which is fine. That does a lot of damage. And then the Blizzard, yeah, the Blizzard might just pick off the Iron Moth anyway, to be honest. Yep, it does. Meanwhile, FLUTTER does still take this, thankfully, which is really good for us, because I can proceed to go for a Dazzling Gleam here. And then go for Tusk and just go for, like, a Rock Slide or something. Yeah, we'll just go for Rock Slide. For what it's worth, I don't think the burn really ended up mattering. I think the crit did. The crit obscenely mattered. The burn doesn't really. I think all it does is just, if they had Protect on their moveset, it takes Protect out of the equation this turn. Which even still, I don't think it makes a huge difference in the general sequence of plays. Because all I actually need to do is just click Gleam, Rock Slide. Rock Slide is, of course, a formality. Their Gleam, their Ice Shard doesn't even fucking matter. So yeah, Gleam is, of course, the thing that's going to KO both Pokemon objectively. Whether burn or not, that KO'd both Pokemon. So, I guess the burn is really just salt in the wound. But the crit on Bundle, that was terrible for my opponent. That's really bad. They don't have a Pokemon that objectively can take this on at this point. They don't have a Terra option left. Nothing on their team takes on this combination of Pokemon because Armourouge just dies and it doesn't actually outpace either of my Pokemon. Yep, Armourouge. So essentially these would need to be like Timid Max Speed Armourouge to actually outpace, or like Timid 244 to outpace. So this should be game because my Great Tusk Creep Skull Dango here, which you might be asking, why not just go Max Speed and tie with Timid Armourouge? Because no one runs it. That's why. It also doesn't fucking matter. Regardless, though, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, like and subscribe for more. Shout out to channel members today, of course, being the Josh Aiko Ultra Player, Mia, Zeke Zero, Matt O'Shea, Nox Nocturnal, Koemi, and Slade. If you guys want to become channel members today, it's only a couple dollars a month, and of course, you get some bonus content like our team breakdown that we're going to be doing on Saturday for Orlando Regionals run, as well as for other bonus content every week. With that said, I'll see you guys later. Until then, peace out, guys.